Okay, hi Matt. So, as I promised, this is like a quick recap of what we've been through during our lessons, our meetings at yours. We need to bear in mind where we were when we started. On the first meeting we had, the approach on the instrument was a little bit static when it comes to articulation. So the first thing we worked on was in developing some independence between the two limbs, the two hands, and start moving the fingers in a way that is more the way that usually bass players approach the instrument. We started working with some not really musical chromatic scales, so just to start moving the fingers a little bit. So we are ignoring the music at the moment. We are more looking at how we are moving our fingers. So let's bear in mind, you play a 4 strings bass, I play a 5 strings bass. So we try not to use the B string that much, so you want to get that sound, and it will be easier for you to codify and translate what you're seeing in the video back to your instrument. So we worked on these scales without loose strings, simply to start moving our fingers. So my initial suggestion was to move the hand the less as possible, but again, it is an independence, it's a degree of articulation through your fingers that will take a little bit of time to reach. So no rush if you cannot do it yet or you are progressively getting there. Yeah. So we did something like this. Very, very, very simple. Simply to start gaining a little bit of independence and articulation between your 4 fingers. No need to do it at a high speed. The most important thing is to practice this at a quite slow speed, slow tempo, in order to build the stamina and give the brain and your muscle and your nerves the time to articulate and to memorize this movement, making it more and more natural. Yeah? Bearing in mind that you are a musician already, you play keyboards, guitar, you do a lot of programming, you're developing a huge interest in drums, you are a producer, an arranger, a songwriter. You learn quite fast, you know what, when we talk about music, you know exactly what we are talking about. Ideally, before maybe do something mid-scale like what we just done, without thinking about music much, but simply thinking about generating independence on your fingers, doing this like what we were doing before. Up and down. We thought to start making a chromatic scale that is a real chromatic scale. So using also your loose string. Using loose string is an important step in bass playing because it widens up the variety, the amount of options that you will have when you will be playing for good. So we will start from open E, yeah, and we are going to do a chromatic scale. And then up and then down at your own pace. No need to speed up too much, just do it thinking that your body, your hands are building that kind of stamina, and the articulations will start to progressively be more fluid, smoother. Same thing if we do a mid scale, but to make it work, we need to go backwards. So we did a chromatic scale that wasn't musical. We did a chromatic scale that is actually something you can use when you play, because it takes in consideration the low strings or goes backwards in order to hit each and every note. Okay, we reached a good independence initially through these exercises. So my suggestion was, let's identify a set of 4 chords. We play 4/4, slow tempo, for something to start to create some music, and also to start alternating index and medium finger when it comes to the picking. We can do G, A, D, and C, just to play something. And we go on a 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. An interesting job to do with your right hand, which is the alternate index and medium. But also, we are not using, in this pattern, we are not using the middle finger, but what we might want to try and do is to use index, annular, pinky, index again, and then go back. You can change the progression. You can do G, D, A, C. And so on. You write songs, you can go through whatever chord progression you wish, but that's an interesting exercise, again, to do some practice, to get off the scales, and to do something that we enjoy more doing. Because the most important thing, as usual, in whatever we do, is to practice. Sometimes there are things that are boring, but we want to make them more engaging for ourselves. We also worked on a major blues pattern, and we worked on that in 2 different ways. We worked like on a more open way, pretty much back and forth on the fretboard, which is a good exercise as well. Yeah, you can do the slide or not. I do like the slide. Then we're going to play C, and then G again, D, C, and G. This is something that I remember you picked up quite easily, and it is a good exercise. You can move up and down on the fretboard, and you can decide the length of the chords in your progression depending on the kind of blues or rock and roll that you want to play. Start very bluesy, very slow. But if you fail to play more rock and roll, the other alternative was moving your hand slightly less and using this kind of fretting. It's still a matter of gaining control of the hand, trying to open up the fingers as much as we can without hurting ourselves, beat by beat through scale through this exercise in order to achieve that kind of flexibility. You can do doubles. So I started introducing fifth to play around our pattern of 4 chords, for example. If we consider another pattern, C, G, D, F. Okay? So we can add the lower fifth to this. Right, we can add the lower fifth and it will become for visual simplicity, the lower fifth is always the same fret, the string below. When I think at the string below, I think at the bigger string above, in a way, the one I'm playing. I mean, that's the lower fifth. We worked then on some pattern with drum beats. You can use the app that I suggested you to use and to download to get some drum beats. I'm not adding any at the moment in this recap. I will maybe in the future. Now the thing I would love to bring back is when we added hammer-ons to our fingering. So we thought about a disco pattern. 1, 2, 3. Okay, slowing it down is 4. Just the movement and the sound and is this. It's just I'm just plucking once when I pluck the G, and then I'll hammer down with my analog, and then I pluck again the A after. Easier done than said, so it's like. This is an exercise you can really add to whatever you want. It's a way of playing that is so common and so used. Okay, you got it. When we worked on it, it's just a matter of using it. So hammer. We are getting towards the end of the things that we worked on. Most important thing is to review all these exercises, play them very slow, no stress. If you feel you have any pain in any of your limbs, in any of your arms, hands, wrists, the most important thing is to drop the bass, do something else, drink a coffee, drink a tea, play guitar, play piano, or bring a bowl, bring something like this, and remind yourself that this is the grip that you should have in the neck and on the fretboard. It's not this, you don't move the wrist that much, you move your hand up and down, but to think about holding something. So grab a ball, grab a dumbbell or something, and remind yourself that this is the posture. This is how you should grip the neck and the fretboard. right? So when you do things like this, when you move, when you twist the wrist this way, you're doing a movement that is not useful. It's not something that will help you. It's something that will hurt you. So try to have pretty much the same position of your hand throughout the whole fretboard. Then there are exemptions. Sometimes we put down the thumb, but sometimes we go a little bit off the fretboard. But this is because we need to do it probably to obtain a sound or to obtain a certain result. But at the moment, we should standardize the whole thing as much as we can and try to not get into bad habits and try to control as much as we can how we put our fingers down on the fretboard. The thing that we worked towards the end of our 4 lessons was working on a minor blues pattern where we are using index, the annular and the pinky more than anything to play something that sounds like this. Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty sure you remember this. Play it very, very slow. Where the fretting will be index, annular, pinky, annular, pinky again, annular, pinky, annular, index. Yeah? This is helping us gaining control. Again, important, gaining control. Control of our limbs, control of the tension behind, not to grip it, to be too hard in how we are holding the instrument. Is a soft approach as much as we can. If we feel that we are accumulating tension, we should put it down, relax, stop doing it if it hurts, because it might be stressful, it might be frustrating, and we might get into the loop that we cannot make it. But we can make it. Absolutely, we can make it. You can. So this is an exercise to practice very slow, and we can also move around and create some music. Play it for you very slow. Again, all the exercises can be, you know, our chromatic scale, can be our rock and roll, don't indulge in, the temptation of speeding it up too much. It's absolutely fine to keep it at a low tempo, especially at the very beginning. Allow your limbs, your muscles, everything, also these parts of your body to assimilate the movements and the muscle to build the memory. And when it comes to stretches, your hand to get used to these kind of stretches bit by bit, day by day. It's a process, and it was impressive 1 month ago when we started. You picked up the bass and you were trying to make some music because you are a musician, and you were moving your hand very static way up and down because you were trying to hit notes, and that's absolutely fantastic. But then the first thing we did was to create articulation, create independence. You got 4 fingers, not counting the thumb, to do a lot of amazing things. We haven't gone through basics of slap, thumb, of things like that. We may want to do that in the future. Don't forget to use a metronome or a drum loop generator to play along, to make it funnier for you. Keep on with the hard work of exercising regularly. But again, put down the instrument, anything starts hurting. It's absolutely normal. It's like when we train at the gym, we go up with weights progressively. So we will push our limits beat by beat, day by day, week by week, in order to get more where we want to be. Well done so far. Keep on playing bass because it's amazing. Ciao.